Have you eaten yet? If you have ever met a Korean in your life, you may have heard them say this at least once, especially if the conversation was in Korean. You'll probably hear this phrase going back and forth in every corner of Korean people's daily lives, regardless of the situation and time. Asking someone if they had breakfast, lunch, dinner, or whatever meal it is one of the most common ways for us to say hello or how are you. It could be, hi, have you eaten? Or how are you, have you eaten? Or even just, have you eaten? In whatever way it was said, it's more of a greeting to see if you're well, rather than to find out if you really have eaten, or to ask you if you want to go for a meal. Well, in some cases, of course, it's meant to ask to go and eat, but usually it's a greeting or a small talk to start the conversation. I never realized this could sound weird or confusing to people from other countries until a friend told me about it. Then I realized it was weird indeed that we constantly use this phrase all the time, even it's way beyond or before mealtime. Not only this, every time we catch up with an old friend, we say things like, let's grab something to eat sometime. Are you eating well these days? But we rarely set actual appointments after that. This was so natural for us that we didn't even realize that we say this so often. We saw our parents do it, and our grandparents do it also. So I got curious and started some research and found out this culture was deeply rooted in daily lives of Koreans with a historical background. Korea used to be a very poor country, and back in those days, asking if someone has eaten was the best way to check if someone was well, because a lot of people barely had food to survive. In time, as the economy of Korea grew, this was no longer a thing, but checking if someone is well by asking if they ate had become deeply rooted in our culture and became a part of our daily greetings. There's actually another phrase that we don't really use anymore that has a historical background like this. People used to ask, how have you been over the night? And it was because during the 19th and 20th century, Korea went through a lot of war, and it became a habit for people to ask if nothing had happened over the night. After realizing this background of why our culture evolved so much around eating, it was fascinating how a culture can be formed and conveyed through generations even when the meaning of it fades. And now that I knew the history behind this custom, a lot of things I have said and heard made sense. Whenever someone is sick, I would always say, don't skip your meals and eat well. Whenever I was on the phone with my parents and my grandma, they would always ask if I'm eating well and that I shouldn't skip my meals. Whenever I have a business meeting, they would ask if I have eaten. And even when I just bump into a neighbor, they sometimes ask if I have eaten. Whenever I call a friend to catch up, we would talk about where to go and what to eat. Eating was a source of wellness, and over time it sort of became an act of bonding as well. I always see memes online saying Koreans are serious about eating. It wasn't just about checking if someone is well anymore. Our whole culture kind of develops around eating. I still don't understand how mukbangs became a thing. I don't understand how we managed to keep on eating and ordering food while we're drinking when we say we're full. We would drive for hours or wait in the line for hours to eat at a popular restaurant. I'm pretty sure these things have other explanation for it, but I can't deny that eating is an important part of our culture. Eating, or asking if someone ate, is a way of showing care and affection for us. It represents how our ancestors cared for each other, even if you're not family. The bonding in our communities were strong, and this culture is a living proof of it. Now, whenever someone asks me if I have eaten, I feel warm inside because I know the thought that is behind those words. So if you ever visit Korea or meet a Korean, don't think it's weird that we're asking if you have eaten. It's probably them checking if you're well, or it's our way of saying hello. And to get a step closer to our culture, how about asking the next Korean you meet if they have eaten yet? I'm sure they won't notice, but it will sound very natural and will make them feel good. I hope you have enjoyed my bed talk and hope you have a good night.